In this video, I'm gonna share with you a system of 3 easy steps that has helped me learn from scratch and perform Rachmaninov's 3rd piano concerto in just 2 months. What's up everyone, Evgeny Genchev here, and this is Sweet Struggle. On here I'm sharing my knowledge and experience both as a performer and as a teacher to help you improve yourself and fulfill your music potential. When we are learning a new piece, it often happens that certain passages are trickier to get right. It seems that they possess a certain kind of stubbornness about them. You practice them religiously, you start and finish the day with them, and yet when you play through, it falls apart. Something that is in them bothers your momentum and you stumble on them. So in this video I'm going to talk about how you can approach such passages and how to physically and mentally tackle any problems when you're learning a new piece. One of the biggest challenges psychologically is to seek discomfort, especially when learning new things. If I were to play only the theme of Rachmaninoff's Concerto, I would have never learned the whole thing in 2 months. Avoiding difficulty can be something that can hinder our development and our productivity. Now you may say, oh, well man, that's really great, very motivational, well done. But how does it practically relate to piano? Actually, it doesn't just relate to piano, it relates to any instrument, it relates to any situation. I have already spoken in great length about this in another video of mine on ways to be productive, so you might want to check this one out first. But to try to describe it briefly, let's just say that when we are learning a new piece, it takes us longer time to incorporate difficult passages in our systems. So if we are learning them last, they will hinder our performance of the whole piece. Such passages wouldn't have had enough time to mature in our minds, in our heads. They wouldn't have had enough time to settle in. So they would cause problems. So make sure when you start learning that new piece that you address the difficult passages as soon as possible. That would help you immensely to be a more effective learner, but also a more complete musician with a greater technical facility in the long run. The first step you need to take when you're practicing a difficult passage is to focus on a few bars at a time. We often get carried away with playing through rather than practicing. So I cannot stress this enough. You need to be deliberate in your practice. Focus on 2, 3, maximum 4 bars at a time and do not move away from them until they're sorted out. You can vary the speed, you can vary the dynamics, play hands separately then back together. Just make sure that you use all the different ways that you know in order to resolve the issues that this passage holds. And please do not just repeat mindlessly, but pay attention and play with intention. Don't be playing some wrong notes, being sloppy or not being rhythmically precise. After all, you're practicing it to make it better, not mess yourself up. Remember what we have already spoken about. Once your brain establishes wrong habits, it is not a computer software. You cannot just erase the wrong lines. Your brain is much more complex than that. You would need to override the whole thing. And having to override such wrong habits will just slow you down when you're learning a new piece. But sometimes, let's say, it happens to all of us. So how do we do that? At the piano or at any other instrument or in life, we do this by repetition. To help you with this, you can use the 5-time repetition practice. I have described this in another video of mine, so I'll make sure I link it down below where you can find it. If you want to bring that practice to the next level though, I believe it was Rubinstein who in his peak was, instead of 5 times, repeating it 50 times. Yeah. And he was doing so with closed eyes. So if 5 is too little of a number for you guys, feel free to increase it in order to feel that rush of repetitive practice. I guarantee you, your neighbors are gonna feel it as well. The point of the matter is that if you notice a mistake, don't just gloss over it. It won't just disappear with the touch of a magic wand. I mean, I wish it did, but that hasn't been the case last time I checked. So truly, this is a great tool. And no, I don't mean the wand. You know what I mean. I mean the 5-time repetition practice. And you should be definitely using it, especially when you're learning a new piece. The second step is a vital part of the process. And I promise you, it is not as painful as the first one. Most people ignore this part during their practice, so their results suffer from it. It's called waiting. Yeah, waiting. We are often so caught up, we're in such a rush to repeat the passage as many times as we can, so quickly as we can, one after the other, that actually we don't give ourselves enough time, to process it. Our brains need a couple of seconds to handle the information that we have given. I'll give you this example. Imagine that you open 10 different tasks to process at the same time on your computer. The CPU is gonna overload, your computer is gonna heat up and it's gonna crash, and you would be looking there staring at that spinning wheel for an hour. So, as sophisticated as our brains are, we still need to give them time to sort out the information. Try this out and give it a go during the 5-time repetition practice. Whenever I use this, it has always made things feel much easier, much smoother, mentally and psychologically. So make sure you give this a go and let me know how it feels. Step number 3 has a huge impact and significance on your ability to perform what you have learned, and in a way it incorporates the first 2 steps. This is connection. What does that really mean? Most people forget to do that when they're practicing a passage intensely. Envision this. Say you repeat a couple of bars 100 times. Finally, everything falls into place. You're playing them beautifully. And that's all great. So you move on to the next thing. When later you play through, however, the whole thing falls apart. You check on those couple of bars again, and they seem to be fine. So why is all this happening? In your brain, the memory of this passage is very distinct. You have repeated it physically many times, and your system has already assimilated it. On its own, it works perfectly. The problem here, however, is that this in your physical memory only acts as a separate link, which is not part of the whole chain. The chain here being representative of the whole piece, or let's say the entire section of what you're playing. You need to make sure that you build the necessary connections. And this is a very simple process. Once you sort out the passage, you need to practice it combined with a few bars preceding it, and then combine it with a few bars succeeding it. That will ensure that the link is incorporated in the whole chain of events. These are the 3 steps that you need to do over and over again, and you will be able to conquer any piece that comes your way. First, address the difficult passages and repeat them. Wait a little bit in between every repetition. Don't just repeat like a robot. Give yourself time and breathe. And finally, connect. Both how you come into the passage and how you come out of it. And then back to the start of this process. This is all from me today, guys, and I hope you found this video helpful. Test the things that we have spoken about and let me know down in the comments how does it feel. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.